I did not go to Greyhook for ghosts. I went for a sound. It arrived in a padded envelope, a wax cylinder labeled Keeper's Last Record. Greyhook Light, 1927. I expected an old shanty or log. Instead came a low, wet humming that pressed against my ribs with 7 slow ticks, a pause, then 7 fast. Not music, a message. That night, I dreamed of a lantern casting its beam upward, where impossible shapes swam. The next week I drove to Greyhook, Maine. The town sagged under rust and salt. The lighthouse stood alone on black rock. At the bait shop, the woman behind the counter said only, "You want Miss Kettle? Historical Society. Tell her the tide sent you."
The society was a church gone hollow. Miss Kettle, with hands like rope, fetched the 1927 log of Keeper Alton Hale. At first, neat weather notes, then strange entries.
Lantern moves on its own. 7 and 7. It wants a 7th night. And finally, the tide above. She whispered, "We don't speak of the keeper. He went up one night and never returned." That night, the humming filled my rented room, though the cylinder lay idle. The lighthouse on the horizon leaned like it was watching. On the second night, I woke to damp footprints across the ceiling, too many joints smelling of iron. On the third, I crossed the causeway. The door opened with a sound like wet paper tearing. Inside, the stairs pulsed with the cylinder's rhythm, stretching impossibly higher than the tower could be. Windows on each landing showed seas that grew stranger. Slate, then oil, then black stars lapping the rocks. At last, I reached the lantern room. The great lens shimmered with a pale light that pierced the ceiling. The sound filled my bones. The ticks were knocks. Something was knocking. I drew the cylinder from my pocket. The lens brightened, thinning the air. A frozen river of light rose above, and in it swam jointed shadows crowding toward my world. A mouth slid close to the glass. 2 clean pages laid face to face, eyes that were not eyes but arranged voids. A voice said, "Alton, Keeper," though that was not my name. The cylinder was no recording. It was a key. Hale had opened the above tide. He had not returned. I hurled it at the lens. The wax smeared. The knocks faltered. The water sagged, then curled back. The lantern dimmed. On the glass, the long mouth thinned in displeasure. I fled. The stairs twisted through wrong seas, but I burst into ordinary night. The lighthouse stood silent, though a pale glimmer still watched from above. At home, I tried to forget, but my laptop typed on its own, 7 lines of 7 words, repeating my address. Now, when the house is quiet, I hear it again, the rhythm of the above tide, knocking patiently. If this story ends here, remember, we call it sea level, as if it were a promise. It is not. It is an appointment. And tonight, the tide is high, but not outside.